Right, in Lakesh and Veritas, everyone, welcome to High Frequency Living. This is a live stream, so Lauren, we are going to take 1 second and give the opportunity for folks to chime in, get into the lives there. I'm sure they're being notified right now by YouTube. All right, and while we're doing that, I'm joined by Lauren, affiliate of the Sun, teacher, practitioner, and more. I'd love it if you could take a moment and share with us a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you do it, whatever you'd like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. Thank you so much, Ahad. It's an honor to be here and speak about really all that is that makes us who we are today, and to share a little bit about what we do and the work with Of the Sun and quantum light property clearing. So that is something I've done for the last decade, last 10 years, and it has become a part of my life. And on a day-to-day basis, I work with flowers. So I am a florist, and that has something that has given me such great meaning and purpose, working with the consciousness of life. But there's more to that, and speaking with flowers and learning how to communicate and then heal with flowers. And that was one of the aspects in my experience that brought me more into the work with Of the Sun, is learning how to be a property clearer and a soul translator, and then become a practitioner with Of the Sun, and a teacher working with the consciousness of the ancestors, and lexigramming the power in words. And actually, my business name, El Andre, are all letters taken from my name. So I lexigrammed my name and found my business name, which is literally the energy of who I am, and put that into my business. So that's kind of something fun to know. So we can do that service to help people through Of the Sun, is get to know a little bit more about who you are and your energy and your trajectories and possibilities, and how that can serve you in your own reality and what you do moving forward, whether that be relationships, business aspects, all of the above. But
Hmm.
I work with clients regularly in meditations, floral meditations, meditations with the divine feminine, speaking with flowers. We do that also for weddings. I work with people in weddings, and work with Ho'oponopono and Lakesh with the flowers, and see how that fills and transforms a space for people, and how much joy that brings and clears the energy of the space just as much, by bringing joy through the consciousness of life into the experience. And it's definitely palpable and received on both ends, and a form of gratitude. So many things to discuss. Yes.
Yeah. So I heard you said um, lexigram. You do lexigram as a service. I also remember you taught lexigram as a class as well, right?
Yes.
You do
Mm-hmm.
the soul translation. I know you specialize in ancestry work, amongst other things, but ancestry work is one of the very popular
Mm-hmm.
ones that you do. And you do that in a series of sessions, correct?
Yes, and that's broken down specifically so that we can gain clarity and allow ourselves to adhere to the information that's coming forward, because it is a process. And we look for the very first ancestral session. We identify the blueprint that you have in all the different countries throughout the globe, and where your ancestral blueprint and footprint is, so you understand and recognize what that is, and how much of you is available to work with through your
Hmm.
ancestry. So we identify that, then we go a little bit deeper, and we look at the mystical, magical, sacred, and other aspects of who we are, because we are multidimensional beings. So we look at it from the perspective of what other realms are here to empower us, to strengthen us, to ignite that magic within ourselves, so that we can make the changes we need to, and understand we have support through that ancestry. And then the third session, we go a little bit deeper into our ancient civilizations' ancestry through the consciousness of Atlantis or the Lemurians. And we look at that and what is melanation, where we draw the magic upon within our own lineage. And we discuss that from that session. It can go deeper. There are more sessions after that. So
Yeah.
there is a process where we're removing, at a soul level, we are removing alien, animal, poison, non-organic substances that have literally anti-life influence that has created dissonance within our experience. So we go deeper, and there's series of those sessions through ancestry as well.
Well, that's something that I think we're gonna have to explore a little further because we are of the Sun hosting a facilitating a soul translation class in November that's going to be taught by Miss Laota. It's going to be 3 hours a class for 4 consecutive weeks, so 12 total class hours. And soul translation is one of the services and classes that are multi-layered and has so many different aspects to soul translation, like areas of specialty to soul translation. So it's the overarching service is called soul translation, but within that is ancestry work, is gift work, and so many other things that you do, causations, and just
Lexograms.
lexigrams,
Yes.
just so many different categories. And a person can explore and specialize in any one of them. They can explore all of them. They can, it's pretty awesome because it's really something for everyone, no matter what you lean, what areas you personally have extreme interest in, what things you can find, what's your, what skill set you really are drawn to. I think it's
Mhm.
really, really cool. And I think that it's going to be really fun for people once they get to see the array of things that are available to them within Soul Translation and how they can interact with it. I'm actually looking here now because I wanted to give an example. So she is in November. She's going to be speaking on the categories of. I'm just scrolling forward now. Let's see here. Looks like I'm not pulling it out right now. However, well, yeah, I'm not seeing it right now. Am I? Oh, here we go. Mental causations, gifts, angel attributes, and archetypes. So that's four different categories within the overarching topic of soul translation, and that's just four ones. And you specialize in the ancestors, which Essential Tribes in the chat saying Lauren is so good with ancestors.
Oh,
I love that. I'm so grateful that you given that testimonial, Essential Tribe. Thank you so much.
thank you. And the cash.
They will learn. Yeah, so in Soul Translation in November, everybody's going to learn not only their own mental causations, gifts, angel attributes, and archetypes, but they'll learn how to find this and relay this for other people as well. And that's just, to me, it's just so cool that people can find their own level or area that they want to put focus in. Hi, Essential Tribe, sign me up. Let's go. Soul Translation. They can find their area that they want to specialize in or that they want to put time and energy into and then really dive in because it's layers and layers and layers. How long you have you been doing Soul Translation?
So I started Soul Translation. This is my going on 5 years now as a
Mm,
practitioner. So I am so grateful. I have taken every class Loota has offered, and every single class there it goes deeper,
yeah.
and there's more that is revealed, more that comes forward. This modality truly is limitless. And there are, at this point, I know at least 25 different charts that you can understand your soul age, your purpose. You can look deeper into your ancestry, your archetypes. The mental causations was really transformative for me because, and this is something I know a conversation for another day, but to understand the emotional mental component behind a physical dis-ease or ailment that is not only either in my body or something that is within someone else's experience but my child. Children have a tendency, they're not able to articulate what it is that they're thinking, and to understand and recognize through the consciousness of soul translation that I can identify what that thought form is, that causation that's creating the dis-ease, and clear it, so that not only do I get better but the child gets better. It's brilliant. I have seen
Yeah.
that happen to release suffering, and it really is a limitless modality to help us learn more about translating our souls, who we are, what is our purpose, what are our gifts. Go deeper into that and get excited about why we're here and how to step into that role.
And you guys are going to hear us speaking more and more about soul translation in preparation for the soul translation class, and to try to build some interest, try to get some signups, how you do it. So we will be doing that. But it's funny because we're actually connected to speak about property clearing today, even though we just got so excited talking about soul translation. And the reason why is
Very
because
exciting.
we're about to do property clearing class, and I have um, from I'm lucky enough that I get to speak with a lot of people throughout the week, and I've noticed and identified that everyone's interest in property clearing is very high. And we have quite a few people signed up for the class, and a lot of people who do the service get the service done for themselves, whether it be through the Cash Studio or be through Of the Sun or any other quantum light property clearer that you're connected to. But one thing I wanted to make sure is highlighted for our little crew of people who stay connected is that we are um, we are not just when you take the class, you get certified, you learn how to clear properties, you get a real this is going to be a 8-day class through the whole month of October. So it's very intensive, multi hours per day, 8-day class. So you're really going through a training so that you can be a property clearer and you can do this on behalf of yourself and others. However, what I wanted to highlight is that even if you don't have the aspirations to have a side business or offering where you're taking clients and doing property clearing, I wanted to explore how being a property clearer serves you, the individual, on a day-to-day basis in a very practical way, where the investment of time and energy into this class, it will benefit you regardless of if you set up a little business doing that or not, regardless of if you ever take a client for doing it, how it still serves you. Now we're going to explore that conversation. I want to get from you because you've been doing property cleaning for what, almost 10 years or so, right?
Yes.
I want to speak with you about how it has shown up in your own life. We'll take the version of you that is the practitioner. We'll have them sit aside for a second, and just the version of you that is in your own life with your family, your children, etc. How it serves you as being a property clearer, so that everybody can understand the range of how this benefits us, regardless of if we ever are the person. Because not all of us are the person to like put ourselves out there and start our own business and even not all of us have the interest at all to be doing the work on behalf of others in that manner. So that's what I would like to ask you about and explore a little bit with you, not too long. But before we get into that, I want to just give a couple shout outs to people in the comments. We got Inlakesh Studio One here, as always, are anchoring the live, just holding down high frequency living. Thank you so much, Inlakesh Studio One. We're speaking about quantum light property clearing, which Inlakesh Studio One specializes in, and we highly recommend anybody that's interested in getting your own personal office, um, apartment, home, and whatever other any space or place that you need cleared. We encourage you. Feel free to reach out to Inlakesh Studio One at inlakeshstudio1.com and sign up for a quantum light property clearing. You'll get a free consult before, and then you'll get a, a, a very thorough report along with guidance after your property clearing as well in another consult. So Uncash Studio One comes highly recommended by us at Of the Sun. We have Stephanie in Lakesh and Veritas. Stephanie is one of our uh, I guess another anchoring person as far as the high frequency living movements and of the sun as well. I'm very grateful for Stephanie. She's every tip dang near every other week or so. She's sponsoring someone to get into light body movement, which is amazing for us. It gives me a resource because as I give these consults and have conversations with people who are new to what we're doing, some of them who need um, a little taste or familiarity with the language and what we're about. And a way that they can get that is through light body movement, on Sundays. And it's a great resource for me to have to be able to say, here's what I'll do for you. I'll put you into light body movement, let you come in on Sunday, see, get a feel, get a feel for the environment, get a feel for the energy, get a feel for the language and what we're speaking, and see how it resonates with you. And then you can decide if you want to move forward or not. I'm grateful that I can do that. And Stephanie plays a big role in that because she's constantly sponsoring someone to do that. So I'm very grateful for you, Stephanie. We all are. And everybody who's been sponsored by you is grateful, I'm sure, as well. Sadell, Grand Rising, beautiful people. Let's go. Sadell's giving a little Inlakesh, a little Ho'oponopono. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Inlakesh Veritas. Terry, greetings from New York, Terry. Terry, I got a link coming to you today for Soul Clearing. We'll get that to you today, okay, Terry? I haven't forgotten. um, okay, Essential Tribe, we spoke about you. Gina, Inlakesh and Veritas, as always, everything you are teaching is greatly appreciated, and I'm definitely signing up. Reach out, Gina. We got to talk. We got to get you signed up. The sooner the better, price-wise. That's for everybody. Um, let's see here. All right, so I'm very grateful for everybody that's in the chat always. Stephanie said big love. I like that. Um, all right, so Lauren, if you would share with me a little bit about. Okay, let's see if you could do it like this. Go back to your early days of doing quantum light property clearing for a second, and before you were super strong at it, because I know we grow in power the longer we do it, the bigger, the more we built the muscle. So when it was early on for you, what was your experience like doing the work for yourself, and how did it serve you early on before you were even in the position to be taking clients, where you felt strong enough and versed enough to take clients doing it? What was that experience like early on? And then we'll fast forward into present day.
So there were little things that I noticed at first. I could feel a difference within myself. I could feel myself getting uh, more clear. I get more information that would come through to my experience. But one of the main reasons I started clearing was because of my daughter and
Mm,
experiences that I had. Her father and I are in a co parenting relationship, so different households. And with that being said, there are different experiences. And so, what I really learned through the consciousness of property clearing was not only about the clearing the space, but how much I needed to work on myself. And this idea of clearing, by clearing more within the properties, I identified that everything I felt was in the space, and that the space reflected me and I reflected the space. So if I was feeling, thinking something a certain way, that was living there and existing there in the consciousness of where I was, living and going to sleep every night and interacting and raising my daughter. And so if I wasn't taking care or doing that energetic hygiene that was necessary for me, then I would get to have that same experience and I could always undo it. So as I started clearing more and embracing more of a regular routine of clearing, I started to see experiences within my own reality that things were better with my daughter's father. We were communicating more. My daughter was getting more information. She was sharing more with me. I was allowing myself to get more opportunities within my own business. Things were starting to manifest within my own reality that I had not really I had been resistant to beforehand.
Mm,
And so, understanding and looking at those different experiences, as I started to embrace the idea of clearing regularly, I then started to notice all the changes that I was seeking or manifestations turning into actualizations. And I could allow myself then to be at more of a level-headed space where I could see the effects of being a property clearer I was utilizing in my experience day to day when I would go out to the store, learning how to clear my path for success, learning that everything would align itself for my best and highest good if I allowed myself to embrace those practices and that understanding that property clearing isn't only about clearing the space, it's about allowing myself to embrace and embody that, and that was the effects that I would see in my reality.
so the what it sounds like to me is that when you started off, you had to kind of experience, not even had to, the natural progression was that you experienced it serving you on an individual basis and impacting your life. And then that kind of like bolstered you or strengthened you to become more and more effective at relaying the value and then actually being impactful doing it for others. But though it initially started with you, it initially started with tangibly making life better, even on the simple things, like you said, like the ability to communicate smoothly in those kind of dynamics, or
Mhm.
for even for your daughter being like bolstered in her ability to handle when she goes over to an environment that's outside of your environment,
Mhm.
for that environment to also be clean and clear to the best ability, to the best possible what's attainable, considering who's there, except things like that. And then it actually makes me think about, like, most of us are sending our children somewhere, whether it be to school or to another parent's house or to any older, grandparents, relatives, whatever. At some point, our children are not just up under us, as is supposed to be, is that they have the opportunity to have other experiences in their
Mhm.
community. And in those times, what a great resource it is that we can clear where they're going. We can clean
Yes.
and make sure energetically there's some levels of protection, there's some levels of support. And that's, man, what it's making me think about is how much of a game changer, how great it has to feel to be so powerful or feel so empowered that oh no no no, my child is, I'm not going to be, we're, our family is not about to be a victim of what's happening outside of us. We're not, I'm going to do this, I'm going to clear a path for this, I'm going to clear this location where they're going, so energetically the low frequency stuff is not being attracted to that environment or that place and things like that. That feels so empowering and it feels so great. And that has, and again, the biggest point about it is that that has nothing to do with taking a client. It has nothing to do with being having a website where you say, I'm a property clearer, things like that. We didn't even get to that. This is talking about the impact in our lives tangibly, and the
Mhm.
protection and the power that you get to tap into and engage with yourself. That's pretty amazing. Have you had any experiences like that with, like, whether it be schooling or other relatives, things like that, where you needed to clear paths for success?
Oh yes. It's almost it becomes a daily it is a daily experience. It's part of your lifestyle, but it I have had experiences where I've actually been halted, with property clearing. You're connected to spiritual committees, so there's allies that are always there helping you. And when you call upon them for assistance regularly by starting your day, clearing your path, but clearing your space as you navigate throughout the day, things pop up. Like I remember one time I was taking my daughter actually to a gymnastics practice, and I was getting ready to go out, and it was in the evening, and I'm literally keys in hand, purse on my shoulder, walking out the door. She's already like in the car. And I get this bing, this notification on my phone. And I look at my phone, and they said that there was a high profile um, court case going on, and it was for a nationwide court case, and there was a murder trial. And I was like, oh, I didn't really pay much attention to that. But then as I stopped and I'm walking to the car, as I keep going, my guidance says to me, don't go, don't go. And I was like, why? And as I looked a little deeper, it was on the same block as where I was going for her gymnastics meet. And so, what I can see from those experiences is our spiritual committees, when we're clearing our paths and we're calling for assistance, we find notifications that come forward that inform us to stay away from a space that could not be for our best and highest good. They're lined up to protect us, to keep us away from a space that would not serve us for our greater good or potentially put us in a harm's way. I also see it in little things like when we're going and I clear my path before I leave, and I speak to the spiritual committee or or the travel clearing committee, and all of my paths, I get all the green lights, or I get where I need to go, or I could be sitting at an intersection and it's constantly traffic going and I'm like, whoop, let me stop. I'm going to ask for assistance. And then there's always a break. Simple things like that. One time I was driving home with Olivia, it's my daughter. She's in the back seat, and it's raining really heavy. And we were at a stoplight, and I started thinking to myself, ooh, that's a lot of rain. Let's clear our path so that we get home safe. And I hear her, I do this in my head, and I'm asking to clear the path for us to get there safely, to get us home and have the rain work with us. And I hear Olivia in the back seat, and the Christian Veritas rain. I'm asking if you would please kindly work with us so that we can get home safe. Thank you. And Lakesh and Veritas. And so she's, at a young age, but has this consciousness through the ability of clearing our space and the practices that I embrace and do sometimes with her in front of her. She understands that there is an opportunity for you to take accountability in your reality, to ask the consciousness of something with honor and respect, to consider that it's doing something too, that,
Wow.
hey, thanks for braining and watering the plants, but can you work with us so that we get home safely? And within 2 minutes it completely let up.
Well, I
And
mean, just the child using, like, not just thinking it, but using their voice and expressing that and doing that is enough reason to do these practices, and especially in
correct.
front of them, because that's so impactful. And it, to me, it's the intangible things, that how it shows the child, our children, that they have impact and power even in situations that seem out of our control. And it's not through making something do something, or making something change. It's through communicating. It's through creating that relationship and building on that bond and that relationship. So I feel like it's just, for so many reasons, it's such like value and intangible power there, that we instill within our children by just them seeing what you do, because it lets them know you have an option, you have a way to communicate, to use your throat chakra to communicate with all that is, and you can build that relationship where it then supports you. And that kind of goes back to when you said about your spiritual committee, from doing the property clearings consistently, it gets to the point where you can tap into that connection, that relationship, even when you're not sitting in a setting doing a property clearing,
Right.
with your charts and all that. You can tap
Exactly.
into that information that's available to you, but that has to come from building that relationship. That has to come from doing it consistently over and over and over and over. If you have that experience or that goal in mind, then the way you do it is by consistently building and tapping into your spiritual community and building the relationship with it, and then building the clarity of what it feels like to be getting information, building the clarity of what it feels like when, and also what's the difference, which I think is super valuable, and we can I'll explore this more in future conversations with others as well. But what's the balance between not being fearful of the world outside of you? Because I definitely, you'll never hear me like co-signing the idea of being scared of what's out there in the world. Like, oh, we got to stay in the house all day because we're scared of the world. No, no, no. Where, because you know you have a resource and power to clear paths for success. So the balance between getting information, doing what's in your best and highest interest, but at the same time not being paralyzed to where you can't impact anything because you're too scared to leave the house. Like even having that clarity of, okay, what's information to get me to move, what's information to get me to stay, what's information to for me to consider and do work on, because maybe it's information but then I need to just clear a path because I didn't put enough energy into it, I didn't put enough intensity in my clearing for that, you know. So now I know to focus in on that, clear it, and now I can go about my business. So all those dynamics seem really interesting.
Yes. And, there was a lot of experiences of clearing and not clearing and looking at the difference. And that was something that I started to see early on in my experience as a clearer. If I did not clear somewhere, I started to pay attention the experiences that I was having and how maybe there was a little bit more struggle, maybe there was a little bit more negative energy that was there, or I hadn't experienced necessarily I didn't want to have. And
Hmm.
so I started recognizing, okay, let's take a minute, let's clear the space where I'm going, let's clear our path. And then by seeing the experience that I had where it was elevated or what I needed was where I needed it in the moment without me even having to ask for it, there everything was aligned for my greater and higher good. And so it started to show me let go of the resistance and move into this understanding of
Mm,
you have an opportunity by understanding and embracing this modality to make something better, not only for yourself, but for your child and for everyone else. Because when you're clearing, it's not only about you, it's not only about your experience, you are also clearing the experience and the path for everyone else that engages within the reality of where you're going. And so if that was a school, and this is something I do regularly, my daughter's in middle school, but for the last 4 years, I've been clearing schools regularly, and to see the experience of what actually goes on within a school building and how all of these children come in every day and they bring energies with them from wherever their environments are or whatever they're being taught. Or we look at a school building and children are told to raise their hand when they speak or don't speak, or the enslavement of the system that they have to do it this way and not that way, or not being able to go outside, or the fear of a test, or the anxiety or the stress. Let's put it this way, we live in a real world where school shootings are a thing. To clear the fear that enters into that space from parents, students, faculty, all of those members, and release that suffering is something that I know, as you made mention before, and Laota has shared, quantum light property clearing is a solution. That is not something I need to be afraid of if I know I'm taking action to clear and make something
exactly.
greater for everyone.
Exactly. It sounds like our alarm is going off that we set the dog alarm.
Oh,
No, I'm just teasing.
she got into the
However,
conversation.
um, no, that I think that is exactly where I wanted to highlight and go with this conversation today. And I'm so grateful for your time and being a part of the conversation. I think that um, in our next conversation, I'd like to explore a little deeper into the ancestry work and soul translation. And again, I always want to tie it into how, regardless of if your intent is to do the work, do take the class, do the session or the work for someone else or for yourself, this is going to serve you greatly, regardless of if you plan on being a practitioner or not on behalf of others. I really want to highlight that to everyone because it's very understandable that we could think that, man, I don't know the steps. I don't know where to begin. How do I get somebody to want me to clear the house? How do I get somebody to want me to give them a soul translation? Not everybody is in the practice or in the business of having clients. Were you gonna say something?
Yes, on that note, it's an evolution. And I think, for me, from my experience, I never thought when I first started clearing that I would be doing that as a practice or as a business with clients. I
Hmm.
thought I'm just going to do this for myself. And then through the process of seeing the results and how it affects not only our overall health and wellness. My daughter is 11. She's been to a doctor 3 times for a sick visit her whole life. You
Yeah,
see that and you start to experience what that is, and then it becomes greater for everyone else. And that's how you can move into this idea of what you see for yourself then makes you excited to want to share that with others, and that comes forward as part of the process.
exactly. All right, so I will wrap up by sharing. If anybody that's interested, the email is in the chat. You can send the email to me. We'll get on the phone and we'll discuss a plan to make sure that you have the opportunity to get quantum light property clearing and or soul translation class. Um, they're both coming right up very soon. And then we can also discuss any other further things that anybody needs to know. We do plan to be live again on Wednesday in the midday time frame, like this, with Inlakesh Studio One. So I'm grateful for your time, Lauren. I'm grateful for everybody that's a part of the High Frequency Living little group that we, keep connected with each other and support. Thanks for everybody in the chat. And I will end this with Inlakesh and Veritas, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank you, and the Keshin Veritas.